Hey, I'm back with another vlog. This one is going to be a little more concise than the other one. I'm not going to prattle on about all my life's problems. And we got a different angle so you can see the kitchen. Oh, and that was Ginger's tail. See, I told you, she carries it over her back like a Pomeranian. It's very cute. But I got a request specifically to see some of my art from the old days. And I haven't drawn in a very, very, very long time. And most of my drawings are put away somewhere. I don't even know where most of them are. But I do have some computer art. Computer art, is that what you call it? I don't know. It was all done way back in the 90s. I remember the 90s. And this first set of pictures was done with a program called T-Draw, or The Draw, I guess. And it was saved in a format called ANSI, ANSI. It's like totally obsolete. But it was used a lot on bulletin board systems, or BBSs, which is how a lot of us communicated before the World Wide Web reached all the corners of our world. And that includes, well, I mean, that's how I met my husband Joel, more or less, was through a BBS. You know, because people would get together in real life, and we would meet at Denny's, or we'd meet at people's houses. You know, we'd have coffee or whatever, and we would get to know each other. And that's how I met my husband, all the way back probably, what, it's 1995, because he proposed in 97 on our 2-year anniversary. My husband's name is Joel, by the way. I should have mentioned that in the last video, because I talked about him, but not really, you know, anything substantial. Anyway, back in the days of BBSs, bulletin board systems, ANSI art was a great way to have signature lines. And since I am totally into ancient Egyptian history, mythology, the whole, you know, civilization, my handle was Anubis, that, you know, everyone knows as the jackal-headed god of death. And a lot of people thought I was a guy until they met me, because it's a kind of an ambiguous name. But this first picture here is my sig line from way back in the day. And the next one here is just, again, because I like ancient Egyptian stuff, this is Bastet, the cat-headed goddess of the hearth and home. There's a difference between Bastet, the cat goddess, and Sekhmet, the lioness, goddess of war. I've heard people mix them up and call Bastet the goddess of war. No. Jeez. Pick up a book. This next one is just a carousel horse. I felt like doing it because my friend Carla, that was my best friend since middle school, you know, she loved carousel horses, and when she would come back to visit, we would go to Portland. We'd go to places like Jansen Beach and oh, I can't even remember the name of that old amusement park. Shoot. And of course the zoo. And we'd just go everywhere that had carousels. Of course there's a nice one in Salem now too, with restored horses. And I wish, they let the public come in and paint the horses for the restored carousel in Salem. I was already pretty crippled when that started. Or I would have given my left arm, because I don't need it anyway, I'm right-handed, to have gotten to paint a carousel horse. But, you know, other people got to it and they've told me it's great. And the last one is just a dragon, because that's another one of my obsessions, is dragons. Dragons, ancient Egypt, cats, The Simpsons, up to about season 5, really. Maybe season 8 if we Or season 10 if we want to be super generous. But really, up to season 5. Yeah, those are really the things I love. Dragons, cats, ancient Egypt, and comic books. So that kind of brings me to my next section here. My next section is all stuff I did in MS Paint, also back in the 90s. The first two are real simple, just things I did at work on my lunch hour. So they're kind of simple because I didn't have a lot of time to just sit there and go over them pixel by pixel. And it was Christmas time, so I felt feeling like decorating my desktop with my own art, you know. So we got a Frosty the Snowman here. He's pretty basic, but I like some of the things I did in the backgrounds. And then a little Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think he's kind of cute too. Pretty basic though. But then we get into the comic book characters. My favorite comic books, my 3 favorite comic books of all time are Mike Grell's The Warlord, which so many people have not heard of, but if you love fantasy and sci-fi and I don't know, fantasy and sci-fi mixed together in just the most unique way I've ever seen, The Warlord is the way to go. And there's even a Catwoman named Shakira, long before the singer. I mean, the comic ended like in 1991 or 92. It ran from the late 70s to the early 90s, I believe. And so there's a woman in it named Shakira who can turn into a cat. Yeah, so you know, I gotta love that. And I do have a picture of her on here that I'm not going to show because it kind of suffers from, well, it's not that great, really. Even lower quality than the rest of this crap. And it kind of suffers from the Rob Liefeld trope of only showing one leg and, you know, the other being hidden. Oh no, wait, that's something of a different one. This one only shows one arm. The other being hidden, forgotten, something, I don't know. That one arm Shakira, I'm not going to show that. But here, this was a character, I don't even remember her name. She was from later in the series. After our hero, Travis Morgan, the Warlord, accidentally killed his barbarian wife, Tara, or Tara. Maybe it's pronounced Tara. I never knew for sure. And this woman was kind of his sidekick while Shakira was off doing other stuff. Not sidekicking, I don't know. It's hard to remember. I haven't even looked at my comic collection in forever. My next favorite, of course, I have to say of course, but it's the X-Men. I wanted to draw that one so badly. I mean, I didn't want to draw it badly. I wanted so badly to draw it. I can grammar. And of course, my favorite X-Men is Rogue. This is just a simple profile. But, you know, I just always love that character. And my favorite era, of course, is when Chris Claremont was drawing from about, writing. Chris Claremont was writing from about 1988, I think, is when I discovered the X-Men, until probably till Chris Claremont quit. Well, it was before that. It was the Age of Apocalypse. I didn't like that storyline. Comics were getting too expensive. I didn't want to spend $4 or $5 on a comic book when I wasn't enjoying the storyline. And of course, it went across all the X titles. Some of which I collected, some of which I didn't. So, those things are just a pain in the ass. But I have to tell you, my 2 favorite X-Men artists of all time. Mark Silvestri with Dan Brown inking, which of course means I loved his run on Wolverine comics too. I also collected those. Wolverine is my favorite X-Men, more than Rogue even. I'm rambling. Alright, Wolverine's too hard to draw though. Men are too hard to draw. I guess I would be a sucky comic book artist because men are too hard to draw. Well, you gotta realize I'm like 25 years out of practice too, so if I'd been drawing for the last 25 years, I probably would have figured out how to draw men. And speaking of Wolverine, this is a minor character from a run. She started out in X-Men comics. She had like one panel in one X-Men comic where she was like waving to, I think it was Banshee and Forge. And she was like, come get aboard the plane. Come get aboard the plane. Because she was a pilot. And then the plane exploded. And they assumed she was dead, so they just took off. And said, well, let's pretend we're dead too. That we were in the plane, because that was obviously meant to kill us. And then she showed up many issues later. The Reavers had found her. And the guy from the Hellfire Club, who's mostly a cyborg, Peter, I think is his name. I forget now. But anyway, he was like, are you sure you want to do this and become a cyborg? Because the Reavers were all cyborgs. And, too, so she was like, I'll do anything if I can fly again. And then she disappeared again for a long time. I don't think she ever showed up in X-Men comics again, but she showed up in Wolverine now as a cyborg sent by the Hellfire Club / Reavers to kill Wolverine, and her name was Scylla. I think that's when we finally learned her names. Anyway, Scylla. So she stalked Wolverine for a while, and then she was killed by a vampire that fed off not blood but energy power. Since she was a cyborg, he depowered her and left her fleshy bits to freeze to death in the snow, and we never saw her again. Too bad. And my third favorite comic of all time is Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. So here is an obligatory picture of death. What else you have to say? It's death. And then, well, perhaps my fourth favorite, or at least in the top 10, was Tank Girl. Now granted, I didn't get into her after the movie. I didn't see the movie for a long time either. And I just, I saw ads for it, thought it looked weird and cool. Then I saw comics that came after it. Some of them were drawn by Jamie Hewlett. They weren't written by, he's got the same name as another famous artist, so he has to put in the middle initial C. I can't remember the writer's name. Shoot, I just remember it's not Grant. Was it Grant Morrison? So is he Grant C. Morrison? No, it's Martin. Oh, fuck it. I'll try to remember to edit this part out, and maybe I won't. But anyway, here's Tanky. This and Scylla probably were the two that took the longest to draw, and you can see why. I really wanted to go into a lot of detail and get that all in there. I did go back and get the collections of Tank Girl comics from before the movie, and I love them. This is actually a copy of an image of Tank Girl from a post-movie comic that was still drawn by Jamie Hewlett. When they stopped being drawn by Jamie Hewlett, I quit because I just hate it when the original creators just, aren't involved in projects anymore. Like, I don't know if it's because DC Vertigo was bored with him, or he was bored with them. I don't know. I see Hewlett and Martin. Richard's last name is Martin. I can't remember. Anyway, they're back together making more Tank Girl comics with much more sophisticated artwork than the originals, it looks like. I'd like to check him out. I really enjoy Jamie Hewlett's artwork, and if you're not sure if you've seen his work before, well, if you've seen the movie, they used a lot of animated interstitials that I'm pretty sure were based on his artwork, which I would love to see. An animated hard R tank girl movie based on Hewlett and Martin's work. But also, if you are familiar at all with this little underground band called the Gorillas, Jamie Hewlett is the artist who designed all of the animated characters that make up the band. So if you've watched any Gorillas videos, you've also seen Jamie Hewlett's work. And I have to go back. Maybe I'll try to figure out some way to edit this correctly. My other favorite artist from X-Men comics was Jim Lee. I love his work. When that first issue, when the Hand and the Mandarin turned Psylocke Japanese, and she went through, well, they put her perfectly British white woman's mind into a Japanese assassin's body, and somehow the body took over. I don't know, comics. Because comics. That is a channel you should check out. Anyway, right, so they turned this British woman into a Japanese assassin, and then they had her psychically go through her mind, and Mojo was there from the Mojoverse, and kill all of the X-Men and collect the Mandarin's rings to then somehow show psychically her loyalty to the Mandarin, and then she became the Lady Mandarin. And a lot of the comic, I know my mom actually read that comic. She picked it up and complained that it made no sense whatsoever. But the artwork, oh my freaking god. Jim Lee was perfection. I mean, I loved Chris Claremont. I love Mark Silvestri's art because of its messiness, sort of. I mean, I love the style that he and Dan Brown had. And when they were working on Wolverine together and had a good colorist, I'm sorry, but the colorist for the X-Men comics sucked. She muddled colors so badly. It made me mad. Everything kind of got really messy. She couldn't even stay in the lines, I mean, isn't that Comics 101? This isn't modern art. Although a lot of Neil Gaiman's comics do contain a lot of modern art. McLean, I think is his last name, or McLean. It's very, very abstract, avant-garde, I would say. But okay, so here is my final piece. This is a hand-drawn piece from when I was in high school. I'm gonna cut to it now. Joel is holding it. I hope it shows up. So here it is. It's the Fine Young Cannibals. Well, this is one of the few pieces of art that are actually drawn by hand that is still around. I don't know, the lighting is so bad. I'm not sure if you can even really see it. It's a portrait of the Fine Young Cannibals that I did in art class, I think when I was a junior in high school. And can you bring it a little closer so we can get some detail? Yeah, go ahead. My husband is helping out, holding it. Wait, that might be, well, no, that's probably not too close. Because you see down there in the corners are the other two guys that aren't the lead singer. Can you back up a little bit? Here we go. And I'm holding the camera myself, so that's why it's so jiggly. But yeah, this is something I did many years ago. I graduated in 91, so this is at least from 1990. So that was my art from 1990 to about 1995 in pencil and digital formats. I hope it didn't suck too bad. Does, you know, it's one of those things that still makes me cry when I think about what might have been, you know. And it's gonna make me mention Amberlynn Reed again. She's got a video, a 3-part video called My Struggles. It's the struggles of being a 560-pound woman. Perhaps she was 520 at the time. And it's so frustrating to me because she talks about being in her body being in prison, and she says, why me? Why was I chosen for this? And I think one of my upcoming videos will be a react to that, where I talk about my own struggles, and you know, maybe if I put her name in the tags and send it to her and stuff, it'll, she probably won't look at it. She hates her haters. And I don't consider myself a hater. Kinda. I'm just very frustrated. Very frustrated. But that's it for this video. For today, I have another topic I wanted to talk about. But I totally forgot it, so maybe that can be a vlog for tomorrow. And that's it. You know, leave a comment below. Leave a like if you liked it. Please like it. Share it. Yeah. Bye bye.